It looks like Vince McMahon is back in charge of WWE, according to sources that say that Vince was in part responsible for many of the changes made to the Raw script on Monday night. We've got so much to talk about here. Before I get into it, though, be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. Okay, Vince McMahon, the longtime owner, chairman, and everything of World Wrestling Entertainment, on the cusp or on the eve of the merger of UFC and WWE into this one entity, TKO. We had an episode of Monday Night Raw, and it was an interesting one behind the scenes. According to multiple sources, Dave Meltzer and Fightful as well, there were changes made to Monday Night Raw. Several of them were reportedly, according to Meltzer at least, made by Vince McMahon himself. It is said that, according to Wrestling Observer Radio, that Vince wasn't backstage at Raw. However, he was working remotely, making changes to the script, coordinating with Triple H and the rest of the creative team, meaning that he was kind of back into the position he was in before his medical leave. Of course, Vince earlier this summer took medical leave due to a spinal injury that he was facing, and this was considered to be a very serious spinal injury that was reportedly going to take him a while to recover from. However, we're just maybe, I think, 2 or so months away from that, and he is already back in action. He was at the TKO Wall Street, New York Stock Exchange listing ceremony, so he was up and out. He did not seem like he was, in any way incapacitated or anything like that. Vince McMahon seemed like Vince McMahon in all of the videos and photos that I saw. So, couple this with the news that, he was making changes to Raw. Of course, Fightful Select did also say that, he wasn't the only one making the changes. It was also it was reported that Triple H was making those changes. I think Dave also said the same thing. So, this isn't, I think, a situation where it's, Vince just came in and was like, oh, we're gonna rip this all apart, and we're gonna have me and Austin Theory, like, which you're welcome for that. But, it wasn't Vince just going crazy. This was just kind of restructuring the show mostly, maybe some rewrites here and there. But what this does indicate, though, is that much like a few months ago, Vince is back into the fold. And this isn't a surprise, even though, the merger has gone through. TKO is this entity. WWE is now under the umbrella of this entity that is now merged with UFC. Vince is still going to be a part of things, at least for the next little while or the time being. We don't know how long that's going to last. There are a bunch of different factors. How long does Ari Emanuel's group really want him there? How long is his contract to stay there? That's not something that I believe has been reported. How long, if there is an agreement for Vince to kind of stay on? Because usually when these mergers happen, the executives of these companies that get merged, they stay on for a while. They stay on to kind of help see through the merger, see through the purchase of the company. So I don't know if there's a deal where Vince McMahon has a contract like that in place. But what I will say is that expect more kind of changes to Raw. Expect Vince McMahon, like I said before, this has happened now a few times, where Vince has kind of come back into the fold, where we've seen or heard reports that, Vince rewrote this, Vince rewrote that. Expect it to become more and more commonplace, and I think I want to be clear. I don't know if Triple H is going to be pushed out or anything like that. I don't think that's going to happen because people generally seem to like the product, and I think Ari Emanuel and Endeavor, mostly the people part of this new company, TKO, they see that. They see the value in that. But I also think that Vince McMahon is going to do everything possible to exert as much power and influence as he possibly can. Remember, he is still the chairman and a one of the heads of this new entity, TKO Sports. So the other thing here is don't expect Vince. Like, it's happened like twice now. When Vince McMahon was forced to retire, like just 6 months later or so, he couldn't help himself. He was already back, and he was like, I'm coming back. I don't care what anyone says. I'm going to force my way back into the company. And that's what he did. And then the merger happens. He comes back, and he's like, okay, yeah, now I'm going to be rewriting Raw. Literally, they announced the merger the day after WrestleMania, and Vince McMahon is there at Raw helping rewrite the script. You rewriting the script allegedly like moments before the show went on the air. This is a guy who wants power. This is a guy who doesn't know anything else than wrestling. Or WWE. He doesn't know anything else but other than WWE. That's who Vince McMahon is. And I don't think, as long as he is breathing in and breathing out, I don't think that Vince would ever willingly give up that power, that influence. He would never do that. And he will never do that. The only way that Vince would leave WWE or Vince be forced out of WWE is if Endeavor wanted him out. Is if Ari Emanuel himself signed off on the decision to part ways with Vince McMahon. That is the only way that Vince McMahon will ever leave WWE. Because we've tried the retirement route. This man got raided by the feds. He was raided by the feds, and he still didn't leave. He went on medical leave, got a spinal surgery, and now he's back, and he still has the mustache. Like, my God, this man refuses to go away. And personally, I think that, I would much rather see Triple H have his full vision, drawn out and have his full vision in place on Raw and SmackDown. But it looks like for the time being, that's not going to happen, and we're going to get a little seasoning of Vince here and there. But I want to hear from you guys. What do you guys think about this news? Vince McMahon returning to WWE. He is back from medical leave. Let me know in the comment section below. Be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified whenever a new video is released. And until next time, keep it real.